Stream is complete, so
And now it's back on. Now the episode's back on. That's literally you were talking, but every time I tried to say hello, you just kept talking over me because you were so delayed that it's going great.
there we go. Steven Fath3 puts in $2. The Red Angel is Morn from Deep Space Nine. Well, we're going to add that to the list of suspects because we've got so many. Anyway, as I was saying when we cut out there, I was kind of disappointed about the comments from people that watched my live reaction video after the fact. Yeah, I didn't feel like doing it, but I still did it, and we still chatted for an hour, which was fun. And was this my favorite episode from season 2? No, it wasn't. I was bored and whatever, but it's not an awful episode by any means. It was just something I wasn't thoroughly invested in.
And you can see how I felt like last week, and people get at you for just not liking something as much for some reason. You know?
That's the thing about opinions.
Mm-hmm.
They're like a body part. Everyone's got one, and we're allowed to say what it is. And if you don't like it, then don't watch it.
Yeah, and for last week I tried to express why I felt, and you can disagree, but at least I expressed it. I never, neither of us just say we don't like stuff for the sake of it.
Yeah.
Or if we do, when we're pushed, we answer.
Yeah. Greg Ken puts in $2 Australian. Glad you pushed through. Better than After Trek. Well, I love hearing when people come on my first reactions and are like, this is awesome. Usually get around 120 viewers or so that's great. You guys are fantastic, all the ones that participate. Nobody in this chat was saying I shouldn't be doing it because I wasn't in a good mood, but as usual it cheered me up just to do the live, so there you go.
And 90 Lancaster says best episode discovery yet. It's tricky. It's got more meat to it than episode 2 because that really didn't mean much. Because this is world changing, that was like, oh, and done over. But that had more Trek vibe and certainly some better cinematography. Like stood out more. This had better general cinematography, but it's tricky. That's the problem. Discovery has it's such a like a pond, the ripples, and sometimes it's really good, sometimes it's really low.
Yeah. Yeah, see some great comments there. I love that. Thank you, Matthew. You're the one producing content, so if people if people have a problem with it, how you produce it, then F them. A live Trekyards is always a good time. See, that's awesome to hear. We love that. Anyway,
but we do justify all of our opinions in today's edited review, so do go check it out. I'm still yet to vamp because as I was literally the site I always do to get the thumbnails, that's what died first, and I said you have no internet. I'm like, oh, but I can hear Stuart talk. But I have no internet. This is unusual.
Yeah.
So now you have to vamp. Well, why don't you tell us, though, what your favourite thing about this episode, Stuart? Swap to a positive.
My favorite thing about this episode. Tilly saying a nice big slice of galactic pie. I thought that was cool. No, my favorite thing about it is probably Pike, the way he was again, Pike is the standout for me in this one. He's really consistently good, and I did like the way he handled things. So, except for at one part where he was a little too diplomatic, I would have been a little bit more aggressive at that point. But anyway,
yeah, he didn't seem to have any teeth. Given that he's the captain of a colony and a very most experienced officer on that ship by absolute mile. He was being too friendly at one point, certainly, and yes, you can...
Yeah.
Especially considering he came from being the guy in the cage, who's more gruff. This is the sort of situation where he should have actually watched Jeffrey Hunter's. We know he didn't. He actually avoided the previous performance. He wanted his own thing. This is when he should have actually gone back and pull in some of those darker elements when need be, because he's just... he's... Yeah, too positive. His midlife crisis is long over.
Yeah. David Bessick puts in $2. I thought the Ba'ul were going to be transformed Kelpians, as did I, and that could still be the case. We're going to talk about that a little bit when that scene comes up, but it could be that image we saw that came out of the goo was more like a a visual representation of how they wanted to be seen by the Kelpians, something scary and terrifying. Because really, when those eyes fired up red, it was pretty horrific. It looked like the little girl from crawling out of the well from The Ring. Uh, pretty scary stuff. So it could be that that's their true appearance, but I kind of doubt it, to be honest. Stephen W. Fathry again puts in $2. Should the Red Angel be Morn or Neelix? Morn or less Neelix. That was funny.
It should be Barclay, lost in some sort of time accident.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Or transporter malfunction. Steven Summers puts in $2. Sigh, the Red Angel is a Section 31 agent. The irony. I wouldn't put it past them. I really wouldn't. But
so should we start?
Anyway, we should.
94 people watching.
This first picture is interesting because if you notice on the left of his quarters, he's got a uniform hanging there. I guess he doesn't believe in replicating a fresh uniform each morning. He's got some already hanging up, ready to go. Never noticed that before, but
oh
yeah,
they do both modernistic and retro things in this show. As this scene was about, Saru. Well, what is it like to be a Kelpian
without fear,
without the definitional single line? What is a Kelpian? That for some reason he felt like he had to tell Burnham after 7 years together. He has to reiterate his one thing. It's like, you've probably told. Do you tell this every week? Sorry, episode 1's just so poorly written. Sorry.
Well, no, every week it changes. Every week I sense the coming of dinner, and then the next week it's like I sense the coming of shuttle. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, this first scene we get to actually hear some other of the bridge officers. Arium gets some lines, which is nice.
Okay.
Again, I'm not quite sure what race she is. I should actually look that up. I don't think she's a robot. Because it's a little too advanced android-wise for that.
It makes me laugh that when some Trek fans are those that are prone to dislike Discovery because of visual, they don't tend to take a step and say, but what is it really? She's not an android. She's an alien race that happens to have metallic parts.
She's an alien race that's in Star Trek 3 as well. In the bars scene by the little holographic computer game.
Yep.
There's a gentleman that looks quite like her, so
I just find it's a bit those that jump to it. It's like there's probably a rational reason. Just it's an alien that's got it's carbon based. I mean, look at the Orville. They've got the green.
Did you watch the Orville last night?
Nope,
by the way,
I've had literally no time.
Oh, dude, it is fantastic.
I've had no time between when I woke up and now. Everything's been this episode.
Yeah, Judge Joker said she's an augmented human, according to the actress on Twitter.
I doubt that.
I doubt that too, because that's augmentation. It's not genetic manipulation, but it should be illegal.
Yeah, and she's too everything. Like every part of her is something different. I doubt that. Not that I'm saying she doesn't know what she's saying. It's just that she's not been given any development. And also, there's 2 actresses, and doesn't matter.
A lot of people.
Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, it's like if she was black or something, it doesn't matter to the character. She just happens to be this. It's good. Doesn't matter. She's just a thing. And it's just part of who she is, but not defining her.
Yeah. And a lot of people are pointing out Tilly's stomach in this. I don't really care. They're kind of tight-fitting, unflattering uniforms overall. But whatever. She looks really good in this episode. So. And
we both commented that we appreciated the fact that she's not the center anymore. She was for a while, but that character was never designed to be that sort of center, and the character doesn't work effectively as that. Whereas as a secondary role, it works very well. To come to and be bubbly, to say fun one-liners, to show the enthusiasm. This she felt so much more at home. I'm not sure why she, an ensign, who has got a specialty in spore tech, could be given the job of searching through ancient resources, but that's more of a plot thing rather than a reality thing, because again she has not why her because we need her to do something. It's like, why is Burnham on every mission? Because she's the lead. It's like, okay. And look, Stuart, a white window again. Why the hell I know,
I've noticed that too.
It's and I guess it's light in the set, but every goddamn... So just do what they did in TNG. Put a big thing of, muslin with little shiny circles, and there you go. You got Starfield. It really stands out, and it's quite annoying actually because it makes no sense.
Anyway, we got 1,000 rubles. Speaking of
Dude,
visuals,
thank you.
this episode is so teal and orange. I thought Michael Bay directed it. And the Orville episode blew my mind. Oh, I know, man. I can't wait for Orville next week. It was way superior to Discovery this week. Just a totally different animal. So, but yes, I agree.
Okay.
Samuel is going to be blown away by this week's Orville.
See, the problem is now everyone said this, which means if it's not the best thing ever, I'm going to be disappointed. Expectations are a bad thing, because if it's not the bomb, I'm like, oh, that's pretty good.
No, well.
It's risky. Someone else said it to me as well, and I'm like, oh. Anyway. So they're using... this first scene sets up that they're investigating the information in this creature, this ball creature, life form, and that there's so much information that could do so many things about so many parts of the galaxy in so many thousands of years, as if it might come in useful multiple times and is a MacGuffin now, which we'll get into a little bit later.
Yes. Now, next scene is in sick bay, and I got to say, this picture, the screen cap you took of Saru, is interesting because if you look in the background, it looks like Dr. Colbert is like walking away from him, even though he's not because he's on the other bed. But it just looks like him from the back. If I didn't know better, I'd say it was. Yeah, we get the whole thing. Colbert is not feeling like himself. No. They go into that a little bit more detailed later, but...
And a little fun little thing. I actually tweeted Wilson Cruz after we did our review saying I appreciate his performance, that it was so multi-leveled and yet so simple. And he liked my response. So Wilson saw my thing.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Hi, Wilson.
Yeah. John Harrison puts in £5. Burnham finally doing Xeno things. Also sad about the bowel room. Hope... How do we spell Ba'ul? They actually showed it on screen. It's B-A, then a little thingy, comma thingy, and then U-L, Ba'ul. This is also where we find out that Saru's gangula is being replaced by
something else.
Cartilage or whatever, coming in like spikes or teeth.
Teeth was a fun word.
Yeah. So very cool. We see the payoff for that later, which is great. I didn't expect to see a payoff for that right away, but yeah. Anyway,
when this scene, I mean, I certainly liked Wilson Cruz. Although it's interesting how, and this is throughout the episode, I felt he looks so thin and yet big arms, which makes him look kind of ill proportioned, like he's ill, like he's so thin yet kind of built, like he's ill, like it's a weird. Doesn't look a little bit sickly. Like his body doesn't look, you know what I mean? Normally he's in a uniform and, it just stands out to me as maybe they did something to, I don't know. He doesn't look... Well, I think
it's like Mayweather from Enterprise, just like ripped.
Yeah. I think it's also because he's deliberately like going in, he's really subduing himself.
Yeah.
It's a small thing. And I love his acting because it's so radically different to season 1. That's why I called him out for it. It's like, this is not at all the same performance. And with Saru, again, this doctor, I mean, doctor's doing a good job. Good for her to always be here. I love so many graphics we saw, because all those take time, effort to make. I'm glad we put the effort into seeing them, and they're saying, what is the next evolutionary cycle? What are you becoming? Will we find out, Stuart? Maybe not.
Maybe.
And there is some nice transitional frames. It goes from this, it can't see my cursor, but the red form to a very similar nebula. There's lots of these sorts of red forms.
Yeah, that was a great transition.
Transitions. They've been actually pretty good at those this season. They take a bit of planning, which then cuts to, and I thought was interesting, a beautiful planet 3D scape with the red come out camera. That's actually, we actually see the red angels burst. We had never seen one before actually start, and it looked like a fireball, like a meteor, like a comet going through space. Corporeal thing physically appearing in the sector. I've got some pictures of that later to show another little hint, and it's physically existing in the space. I just thought it was interesting that we finally saw it.
Yeah. Here we've got a great conversation between Tyler, Burnham, and Pike. We find out that, well, Section 31's kind of paranoid.
Kind of.
They suspect the Red Angel is capable of time incursions. And is it saving people, or is it causing disasters? Pike's of the opinion that it's saving people. Tyler, of course, is of the opinion that it's actually causing these disasters in the first place. So, and Tyler is very interesting in this episode. If you watch him in the background, there's some odd things that he does later when Saru is talking on the bridge. He clenches his fist, and then he calls over one of the other guys and talks to him, and then he talks to another guy, and then later you see those two guys standing side by side with him at the side of the bridge. I mean, it's something I noticed on my second watch through of it. He's just acting very odd, but well, stay tuned. Like, watch for that, guys.
Well, we said we think he understands more than they do. There's something else. I mean, especially given that you could imagine, and this is definitely I mean, my God, it should come into play, but the temporal Cold War, I mean, that should be obviously mentioned very soon if this is a big driving plot. And I can imagine that at this point, so many years later, it's been so classified that no one in living memory remembers it. But Section 31 is very aware that, yes, in the future, people came back and interfered with, no one knows why the Zindi attacked except the crew of the Enterprise, and then that was classified. So they know, well, yeah, these future people can lead to the destruction of so much. I mean, what do you mean? Yes, one guy called Daniels helped, but they dealt with the Nazis and the Suliban and da-da. So yeah, almost all the Temple Cold War have been here to destroy stuff. So yeah, why would they be saving people? So I can totally see if he needs to say Temple Cold War at some point and re-explain it, because that would be a obvious goddamn linking. And it's dumb they're doing it, but obvious. And this is a bit of funny CGI because this wasn't perfectly tracked, and I saw a few little slight glitches of the VFX as it was turning in very small things. But I was thinking, like, where's the perspective? Because who is it hologramming to each person's perspective, or is it a set?
Well,
because everything's got a flat plane, so does some of the circles actually have, like, do you actually have to stand away from it a little bit to see it, or is it going to shift with your perspective? Or it's
interesting because later when Tilly and Burnham are talking on both sides of the clear display, each side has they can see it on their side perfectly. Because I did notice that as well, which I thought was.
And it was dark seamless. I mean, this is sort of nice CGI. It's just like, oh, it's there. Doesn't need to be there, but it is.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of conversations in this episode, aren't there? Like, lots of long, drawn out conversations. Yeah. Sorry.
And this is where Pike says, what we really need is Spock to explain this, because Spock will kind of know what's going on. He's kind of the missing puzzle piece right now for this whole Red Angel thing. So that was I thought I'd make note of that line. This is where we find out that one has appeared above Saru's home planet of Cabinar. And this is cool because when Pike comes out to the bridge, Saru doesn't move out of the captain's chair, and is I should probably move. Again, it's that beginning of that defiance that he has against authority now, because I think he feels, at least subconsciously, that he's superior. Anyway,
well, I mean, he is
great scene.
They did say he was half in charge, and he's now not afraid of what he's going to say. And like we said in the review, we've seen Saru without fear on Pavo, and it was pretty bad. He's a dangerous man. He's a dangerous alien if left unkept with certain ideals. So I could very see Saru becoming not necessarily a villain, but an antagonist eventually. And that was a really fun moment. It was so unnecessary, but it was great.
Yeah.
Yes.
New signal above Cabinar.
My God.
And then there is the opening, of course, and there's a super great GoPro shot of a GoPro on the nacelle of Discovery with it at warp. That was a great shot. I really like that. So keep up those kind of things, guys. That's fantastic.
Yeah, there's not that many cutaways, but there's a few cool things. That actually, I think that it must be slightly a directorial decision, because episode 2 we had Jonathan Frakes' very classical approach, and there's so many great ship shots, and they're very bright. Whereas in this one, they were kind of dark again. It was much more season 1-y. Some of the later stuff you'll see it's pretty dark, and so there's a couple of cool shots, but it was certainly not using the space to its fullest.
Yeah. Another 300 ruble super
Thank
chat.
you.
During this scene, I thought Saru actually faked his red burst to get to his planet.
That's interesting.
Interesting. I never considered that. I thought it was quite convenient that it happened over his planet. I mean, I'm sure that's going to tie into who the Red Angel is eventually. But I never once considered that. But that would be a great thing. Even though later we find out that it did actually appear. So
yeah, it's a little bit coincidental / happy timing, but I mean, it's all, there's this master plan. There's, this is building up to something, and this is why we said in our review the payoff needs to be excellent, because everything is this slow build, and it will absolutely live or die on the payoff. But Stuart, we haven't received any super chats yet today, with 170 people watching. Guys, we have to say what you say. For any amount of super chat which supports the channel directly, we have to say whatever you said, and you can control our topic of discussion. You can allow us to fund the channel, and we say what you want, and it's fun times had by all. So if you want to say something, please do.
Well, we've had quite a few super chats. You started out by saying we have no super chats. We've had quite a few.
It's, I mean, just the other day, we were just like flowing, and we were and just, whoa.
Well, that's how lives go. Sometimes they flow, sometimes it's a little bit more of a drip in the pan, but anything is appreciated, for sure.
That is a true statement. As you can see in this one, it says the Ba'ul, B-A-U-L, for the planet. And then you got Saru. The next scene is Saru's rather impassioned plea. He's clearly acting different. I would love to have heard what this director said to Saru, said to Doug Jones. How do you approach this new him? And I'm guessing it's passionate. Don't be afraid to speak your mind, because that's part of the fear, is what if, because he was, I love how every single line he said from now onwards is prejudiced and biased. Every outlook, every comment, everything anyone says to him in reference to his planet, he adds instant "I hate them" bias, which makes sense, but it's so it's so different to how he would have played the scenes later or earlier. I mean, so it's kind of interesting to see like everything had this tinge of "I hate them now and I kill them." It's interesting.
Yes. Well, put yourself in his shoes, even if you could, because those shoes look pretty uncomfortable. Yeah, that's where we find out as well that the Ba'ul have had warp for 20 years, and they go into the whole thing about how there was a signal sent, but it wasn't from the Ba'ul, it was from Saru, and the Ba'ul have no interest in dealing with the Federation at all. The starship Archimedes showed up, and it's just a recap of what happened in this Star Trek short, The Brightest Star. Lieutenant Giorgio, this was 18 years ago. He's been away from his planet for 18 years, so that's worth pointing out. And Lieutenant Giorgio shows up and, of course, saves him from his planet and gives him hope. So you didn't really need to see the short to get filled in, and I think they're going to tie into all the shorts eventually, hopefully. David Bessick puts in $5. Thank you very much. I think it's unlikely the Red Angle is Michael. I mean Angel is Michael. Otherwise, how would we get a season 3 of Discovery? Yet the Angel's connection to Spock and crew is hard to miss. Well, if it's a time-traveling angel, it can happen after season 7. So season 3 is fine. You know what I mean?
Well, let's be fair. If it's a time-traveling thing, it can link to the Picard show.
Which they better not do.
Which is the obvious potential there.
Or the Section 31 show. No.
Yes, but no. There's so much. I mean, if this was not to be really optimistic again, guys, but if this was Rick Berman and that guys and Doug Drexler and Rick Sternbeck and that team, and you said, right, we've got a prequel show and a future show, and we want to have, because the prequel show is doing really well in views, season 7 of Enterprise, whatever, but we want to do a new post Voyager. Let's have a time travel story where it actually links to, it's the backstory, and then the first season of the new show, the Picard show, the future show, is the start, is the thing that causes the thing that goes back and interferes with this season, but then the payoff effects, that would be so fun synergy as a concept, but it would, linking Discovery era to anything after is a risky business, because it, devalues the rest of Trek, unfortunately. Speaking of devaluing Trek, I've been stuck on this lens flare for a while. This episode is filled.
It is.
With lens flare. I did not notice so much the first time, I'll be honest. They are very quick lens flares.
I didn't notice the first time either. Second time, definitely noticed.
But there's a lot of them, and a lot of subtle ones, and a lot of lighting gags where a light behind a character is very bright, overly bright, like we've tried to accentuate the brightness to do something. And it was, when I was trying to get stilled, I was like, well, there's another one. And especially the second half, there's a lot, and it does give a lot. I mean, if you took this one frame, this would be a JJ still. I mean, even the set design, the lighting, the costumes, I mean, that's getting closer, guys. Getting closer.
Is this the new episode under the new direction, the new team?
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's okay.
So he always liked it. And he said, oh, do more lens flares. I've always liked them. It's like, oh, okay.
David Bessick puts in $2 and says, if the angel is Iconian, it definitely connects to Picard. I don't think it's Iconian. I think that's kind of I think we've kind of settled that in this episode later. Meh. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is where we also learn about the great balance. And this is, again, watch Tyler. When Saru is talking, he's very much shooting glares at Saru for sure.
Well, because he knows the real focus of this mission. He knows what really they should be dealing with. And here they are. I mean, this planet is so unimportant in the grand scheme. And if Section 31 wanted Saru's people to be free, they could just walk in, shoot every... You know what I mean? It seems so small. And he's thinking that the Red Angels are something malice. And so now this is the first time he's been on the ship when the Red Angels are involved. So he's... Why are we walking into their trap, to their plan? Why are we doing that, guys? So yeah, it's definitely... He's not appreciating the direction of the episode.
Yes. This is also where we get the whole thing with Tyler kind of disagreeing with Pike. You're going to warp into the system and, just knock on the door. Well, when you're uninvited, you should ask nicely. And Tyler's very opposed to that. And then, of course, they drop out of warp right at the planet. What happened to not warping in a solar system? You always saw the TOS Enterprise approaching the planet at impulse because you don't warp right to the planet. Anyway.
Because it's visually interesting. And 2 non-super chat questions to say, Matthew DeFreitas, 6 episodes were done before the new team rights came in. Next episode will most likely look different. We all heard 5, so please check again, Matthew. And Necro Globule. No, Picard never encountered the Iconians, just the technology. But that's the reference we're making.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Joseph Patrick puts in €2 and says, will now Giorgio get a care package with ganglia? Well, I mean, they're everywhere. You just, ship them all to her. She might want to eat them.
Well, they're limited supply now because they're all...
Yeah.
I mean, people have to now breed actively. I mean, that was a question I had if I didn't bring up earlier. Now, new Kelpians, they're pre-evolved, I'm assuming. Does that mean they all have to wait? Does that mean that now evolved Kelpians make evolved Kelpians? Can they breed still?
That's a good question. I don't know. Is it a puberty thing? Like, do they start with the ganglio and have the fear factor when they're young?
That's what the assumption was.
Yeah, that's what I would assume. So it's a good question. But anyway, Chive Bacon puts in $5. Trust me, Cap, the angel is not Berman or a member of Discovery. That's too warped. Haha, pun intended, even for Discovery. Well, let's hope. Let's hope.
See, the Michelle Yeoh being the Empress worked thematically, even though it was a little bit like, okay. Having all the bridge crew be on her personal ship was dumb. That did not work as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I not for once think it's going to be one of the crew. I just think that'd be such a strange cop-out. And if you look for a second back to a few shots before the one before the warp out, you can see the 2 very bright yellow lights behind the captain again, lighting gags.
That's the scene that I'm on, or the picture I'm on.
Yeah, it's like
we missed a super chat.
Oh, okay.
A few ago, Noel put in $1.99. Sorry, Noel. Episode was so good I didn't even notice the lens flares.
Yeah,
I didn't notice them the first time either. Second time I did. Oh, Anti-Trekker is here. Oh, see, Anti-Trekker puts in $5.
Thank you.
Pike was awesome in this episode. The Red Angel is Berman in the future, in my honest opinion. If not for a couple of really stupid moments, I would have loved it. Really?
That's for him saying it as well.
I know. Well, I tuned into his live for like literally 5 minutes, and all I heard was, "That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard." That Pike would. Sorry, Anti-Trekker. But yeah, a little bit too much negativity. You got to watch the episode first, then review it. The first watch and pause and review, I don't find works, but that's just me.
It's odd to ask questions 6 minutes in because the payoff is 50 minutes in. So I hate this when you haven't actually seen what's going on yet. Yeah, I would never review something as I went. Like, our first review is always edited. So, we record it and then go back and do the images, and I then take out bits and make it refined and then show the edited, because you need that sort of polish first.
Well, he's doing like a first watch reaction, but I just don't think it works, because sometimes the answer to the question that he has is later in the exact same scene, like literally
and the problem being
30 seconds later.
Then the first person to watch that video after the fact, who's already seen the episode, says, well, yeah, obviously, what a stupid question, YouTuber person, whoever you are. They answer it in 2 minutes. Like, it doesn't hold up beyond the initial viewing. And at least first reaction that you had, Stuart, is very interesting, because it's like there is no time to process. What is your genuine first reaction after the fact when you've got the whole thing? But yeah, as Trekker, I can't see it being Burnham. It would be a horrible plot point. Because then she is just the angel, the Jesus, the winner of the universe, but she's just not important enough as a character. I mean, if they somehow, Stuart, turn this around, and we see at the end of the season, before 3 seasons, that's what they might give the show, 3 seasons. At the end of the season, we see her beamed out of whatever scenario they're in on the Relativity, and it's actually the same actor they bring back, who's the other captain, and then the original uniform is proper set, and they say, right, we need to use a time agent, and it's like, oh. And then they say, right, take this suit and fly around the galaxy doing one man, one woman operation. I would give them more credit if they use that approach, because at least it's consistent. But
you are Captain Marvel, yeah.
But at least there's something in the universe that would help add some fidelity to that.
Yeah. Well, we got 2 new super chats. One 150 rubles.
Pike disapproves of my plan. Look at his face. He disapproves.
I guess that's the reason Kelpians will never be seen anymore. All of them are old now. Maybe.
Possibly. Well, that's a great point, though. If the evolved ones can't breed properly,
but that one doesn't make sense though, because they were obviously overrunning the Ba'ul like early on in the evolutionary process.
We don't know how long Kelpians live, and we don't know how effective they are at killing the Ba'ul. Again, the episode is full of not fully thought out ideas, like fine surface level, but as soon as you start scratching, they don't quite fit. You can easily explain them, but it's tricky.
Yeah. John Harris, 55 pounds. Right. The Empress 8 Ganglia. Does she have a trade deal with the Ba'ul? Also, their ships are nice, and that was a nice ship standoff. I'm gonna disagree there. When we get to the ships, I don't like the ships, but
you can see Pike's face. He also disagrees with Khan.
Yeah. Well, this is where they warp in, and right away the Ba'ul are scanning just the weapon systems of the Discovery.
Personally, I would have had them scan shields and weapons, both, rather than just weapons. But that's fine. Small thing. And I just want to point out this one shot that I've got. Look at the reflective ceiling. Like, holy hell. That's a really reflective ceiling. That's kind of distracting how reflective it is.
I'm still waiting for the scene. You keep flicking between pictures.
I was going forward and go back.
Gotcha.
It's really reflective. Yeah. It just stands out a bit in that one shot. It's like, really? Okay.
Baz T puts in £2.
Thank you.
More use of push buttons in this episode.
There's a fun moment with that for sure.
Yeah. And Stephen Fathry puts in $2.
Thank you.
I love the episode. It is my favorite of season 2.
What's your favorite of season 2 so far, Stuart?
I don't know. I'd have to go back and look at the titles.
Yeah, I think we'll have to go back, because each one pays off in later episodes, Yeah. So you need to watch them in a weird context.
Anti-Trekker is spending money for super chats. That means he really wants to talk to us. He puts in another $5.
Thank you.
He's a cheap bastard and doesn't like doing that. So it's interesting. Thank you. Burnham's first name is Michael. Michael is an archangel who defeated Satan. The Red Angel body is like Burnham. Saru's sis refers to her as a savior. Well, if that's the case, that's just really lame.
I love that, and that's a one of those little retconny things. Obviously, Brian Fuller didn't invent that after his show would get ripped apart, he would then have season 2 her be an angel, and you know what I mean. You can use
Yeah.
whatever you want from that, but there's smarter ideas than just to have it be linked to the name in the grander scheme, because that could be an Iconian and use that entire mythology of season 3, or it could be a new alien race, or it could be a time being, it could be Daniels, it could be. There's so many amazing. Like, cool, how cool would it be if it was Daniels? Just literally the same guy. It's just like, oh, Daniels, the hell, man. It's like, I don't know, I got new threads. You know what I mean? There's so many cool ways of doing it beyond that. I like the thought though, but yes. Now this is a fun scene. It's a fun moment because again, showing Saru just changing his personality a little bit. You get a full-on standoff, and I felt a little bit tense too because they kept cutting to the crew. Genuinely good use of the crew. And it's like, Saru's going to push these buttons. He's not going to back down. And boy, Pike was just being, like, the smart... He always kept, and I was quite impressed with this, the tone of him was so consistently friendly, yet captain. And Saru kept amping up, and Pike kept on the same, like, yep, I know what you're trying to say. And Saru's like, Rrr. No, I know what you're trying to say. And they keep amping. And that's going to be a scuffle, and it's like, Saru, mate, calm down.
Yeah, yeah.
What did you think of one of your favourite characters as being all fighty, Stuart?
Being all what?
Fighty.
Oh. Fucking dogs. It's not my favorite character, but I did like the standoff. Like you said, I was also kind of tense about it because Pike wasn't backing down for sure because he's the captain, and Saru was getting right in his face. And it's funny the height differences because you got Pike, you got Saru way up here, and then Burnham steps in and she's way down here below Pike. It's like, wow. So Anti-Trekker throws in another $2 unless he had a sex change, not Daniels.
Well, I disagree. It's necessarily a female body because alien.
It kind of looks like it though with the hips. When we see it later, it does look hippie.
I mean,
Sean
you can play that.
Pullen, yeah, Sean Pullen puts in $5 Canadian.
Thank you.
I think Disco will defer Captain Saru another season, maybe maybe he's a tad unstable. Well, yes. See, that's the point where I tuned into Anti-Trekkers, and he's like, well, first thing that Pike says is that Burnham should go down on the landing party to talk to the priest because she's a Xeno whatever, and he's like, there's a Kelpian on your ship, and I'm like, yeah, just wait a second, because then Pike says, with the way you've changed both physically and psychologically, we're not sure that sending you down is such a great idea right now. So there is justification for it, and Pike's still a good captain in that case, but
yeah, this was a weird one because it makes sense to get Saru there. And I said this in our main review. The fact the crew is so oblivious, so unaware, that he clearly is mentally zoning into, I'm going to change something, I'm going to interfere, I'm not going to let this stand. I mean, it's written on his face, everything he does, the prejudice, the negativity. If you let him go down there, what do you think he's going to do? Anything, and anything defies a prime directive. And yes, they say it's malleable, it's up to discretion, but you can still get called out for it by the Federation Council, and I think certainly this situation is wrong by the Federation Council, and they should reprimand them somewhere. But sending Burnham down is worse than saying Saru, because that proves other alien life. The Ba'ul aren't aliens, they're native to the planet. They're co-inhabitants. We could have assumed they might have been like a species that enslaved them. No, they're co-inhabitants, so they don't know there's other people outside the universe. The stars are just the stars. There isn't necessarily anything outside there. So sending a human down breaks the prime directive instantly, and it's really. So why would you send Burnham? You know what I mean? If anything,
because Saru's not a good choice in this case because they're not sure what the changes are going to.
Oh no, they're both bad choices. Burnham's out by default, and Saru is shouldn't be because of they should really send down like a hologram, like work out where the priest lady is or who they thought was the dad, and then hologram down a fake Kelpian and be like, hello, can we talk for a minute? And it's actually one of the crew. I don't know, they got holo technology, I'm sure they could do it.
Yeah.
But then...
Well, this is... Pike's line is great. We're going to stretch General Order 1, but let's not try to break it in the process. I kind of like that. It goes back to TOS with Kirk. He tend to bend and stretch that quite a bit.
And I think his intentions were good, but boy, he breaks it. He just snaps it right in half and throws it.
Matthew DeFreitas puts in $2 and says 10 ships on an intercept course, but then just appear. Yeah, we'll get to that scene soon. We'll talk about that, Matthew. John Harrison puts in £2. Con, read my words, said it was nice, not fantastic. Okay.
But now a scene that I'm sure you liked, another Kolber scene. Kolber.
Yeah, that was the most interesting part of this episode for me personally. This is where we find out that his brain patterns are identical. However, the body is brand new, constituted, material. It's basically pristine, and his scar that he chose to keep is gone. And you get to hear the whole story about how he almost died, fell 30 meters, no, 15. And the doctor lady that was with him went down, sewed him up with fishing line, risked her life to save him. And that's one of the reasons, that is the reason he became a doctor. So to keep that scar was important to him, I guess. And now that it's gone, every time anybody touches him, he's very, because Saru touches him earlier. Stamets does here as well. And it's understandable considering that every time he got touched in the mycelium network, it would burn.
I hadn't thought about that.
That's the PTSD kicking in. So that's actually really well done. Yeah. But his nervous system still isn't right. It hasn't settled in yet. So he doesn't feel quite right. At least that's the explanation. Even though the doctor said, you're good to restart your life, go do your thing. Joseph Petrick puts in €2. 2 races on a planet reminds me of Enterprise and every other Star Trek series. And David Bessig puts in $2. The Ba'ul also reminded me of the TNG skin of Evil Monster. Yes, Armis. But yes, I mean, it could be because Armis said that his race shed all their negative emotions and he was the result. So it could be that in the process to become peaceful with the Kelpians, they shed all this negative emotion and turned it into Armis and threw him off the planet.
So they've got the good goop on them, and Armis is all the bad goop they left behind.
Well, yeah, all the bad goop just comes off and they're clean and shiny. But like I said, I don't think that's a representation of how they really look. I think that's to terrify the Kelpians.
And we'll get into that later because then we'll be able to upgrade the visuals and we'll be able to see. But I like this scene. And like I said to Wilson Cruz, I thought he did a very good job playing a radically different feeling person. All that positivity, all that little chip on the shoulder friendliness, gone. It's very subdued. It's sad. And it's great because we saw him in the My Sealed Network being himself again, and now he knows there's something wrong. And I think there's way more wrong than, someone in the comments said, oh, it's just his boy he's not connected yet. Oh no, there's way more than just he doesn't, because it's right, everything will feel slightly different, it's different nerve endings, but there's more to it than that, absolutely. And I'm sure they either made the body wrong or, or too right, I don't know, it's, this will be a thing, and I'm intrigued to see, because it was a very interestingly directed scene. I did say to you in the review that this might just be the 2-season arc of these two characters. The first out gay couple in at least TV, well, I guess online streaming show. It's not a TV show, at least for America. That now he's back. Stamets has clearly evolved as a character. He's much more friendly, much more. He was always friendly and loving towards Hugh, but his general atmosphere feels much. Obviously, he's happy to have him back. But looking compared to the start of season 1, he was a real dick, And so it'd be funny if they both left the show by the end of the season, because they've both done their purpose. There is no more Spore Tech, more Spore Drive. That was, their purpose. But I like how he plays this. He's overly positive. You can tell he's being overly happy and cheery to counteract Hugh's, well, you can see the face, not quite there. So it was kind of sweet in its own way.
Yeah, it was a good scene. It was a better storyline for me than the main storyline about the Kelpians, because I really didn't care about that storyline. I don't know.
Which is funny, because this one to me was just like such a sub story of, he'll be fine eventually, moving on. Like, it has no teeth, which is fine. It's just like oh yeah, there they are. They're here. You know.
Yeah.
Oh, and then they beam down.
Ooh, the watchful eye. Dun, dun, dun. Like I said in our other review, it's the Illuminati.
And I love, once again, they beam down, and then she asks, where is everyone? So you haven't scanned the vicinity and beamed right in the middle of their camp, and then you ask where. I guess it's for the audience, but it's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
You scan the area first, then you beam in far away, then you walk in, then you use binoculars and you see to make sure where they are, and then you walk in. You don't just beam in front of it and then ask the question. It's quite dumb, but whatever. I just also felt that it was kind of funny that the size difference is kind of extreme. That, wow, she's in Kelpian costume, but she's the shortest Kelpian ever to have existed. And so, you know what I mean? If from a distance, you'd be like,
She could be a young one.
Yeah, although we don't know if we've seen the young Kelpians. I don't know if we have. I don't know if, I just thought it was kind of funny. Like, you wouldn't think that was a Kelpian necessarily by the size difference. It doesn't quite blend in too well. Although I was really hoping that when she scans it, we'd hear more, like, because he's never scanned this. He doesn't know anything about the obelisks beyond the myths. It'd be fun if she said, wow, it's got a, transphasic sensor array and all these, like, hints. But it's like, oh, no, okay, moving on. So, okay.
Yeah. It's ironic he runs into his sister, doesn't recognize her at first, asks her if the priest will have a minute. And she's like, yeah, and then, oh
my God.
But, and then she whips out the communicator, and his sister's name is Serana. Got to point that out as well. And the communicator capable of translating over 1,000 languages.
Now, Stuart.
Yes.
Why, in about 9 years' time, do they have a tube which translates not everything? Why is that the next evolution of when they've already got a communicator which can do it? Why is that a thing?
Well, the Universal Translator was first seen in Arena, so it wasn't necessarily Federation tech, because it was on the planet provided with when Kirk and the Gorn were transported there. And Kirk didn't know it was a Universal Translator because he was talking into it like a recorder, and then he finds out later that the Gorn has heard everything he said, because it's a transmitter and a Universal Translator. So that would be why.
Isn't there another episode, though, when he translates using a similar prop?
Yeah, there is. Maybe it can translate 2,000 languages and not 1,000.
Sure. So it's just a bit of a strong retcon that kind of makes it really easy. And thank goodness Saru in his time insisted on letting the Federation know his entire language. And, thank goodness, because they wouldn't have the language without him. And that, thank goodness he bothered to do that. But what do you think?
He didn't bother to do it. The Universal Translator did it.
Well, no, but you need to talk.
Hoshi had it. Yeah, well, he speaks Kelpian the whole time, and the Universal Translator translates for everybody else.
Remember, he speaks a billion languages. I'm assuming he actually just speaks English.
94.
Yeah, I'm assuming he just speaks English for everyone.
Oh, I'm sure he does too. But whatever. He wouldn't have right away. The Universal Translator would have had to translate for his first couple of days at least.
That's a good point. I guess Giorgio did know the translator straight away. I guess they already. Yeah. I don't know. What do you think of this reuniting and her being the priest? The actual plot stuff.
Very convenient. We find out that her father died a while after Saru left, and of course she's been a priest now for like 18 years. She doesn't have a family yet. It's all convenience stacked upon convenience, and that kind of bothered me a little bit. Most of our people don't come out after dark or whatever, and it's not dark yet, clearly. And then, of course, his sister's out roaming around. Just, wow, really?
Well, we know she likes flowers, so that was consistent with the one time we've seen her, to be fair.
Yeah. Oh, we got 2 super chats. Tyler Vincent puts in $2. Did Jet Reno die off screen or something? Yeah, I don't know what happened to her character. She'll probably be back with no explanation. And Trent Culligat puts in $5 Canadian. In Best of Both Worlds, they beam down and don't notice the colony is gone. true, but it could have been some electromagnetic readings that blocked the sensors. Who knows? I wouldn't want to beam down into that, though, into something unknown, but whatever.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. There's always... It's just... See, when I... And hi, Joe. Just a hi, gents. The things when I do stories... And I've done 2 Trek stories, Temporal Anomaly and Convergence. I like to have everything explained or subtext or... You know, it's all very neat. You know,
Yeah.
at least in the form. Like Temporal Anomaly, if you ask me questions about the stuff that isn't explained in the movie, I can explain to you straight away because I've thought about it all, even if I can't put it all in the film. But because there's a natural A to B to C to D, once I explain it, you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. So I prefer they don't have things like we beam into the middle of nowhere doesn't make sense, when they could just have beamed them to the like it would have been the exact same thing. Beam them to the cliff behind some trees, and they walk through trees and have a look. Same thing, makes more sense.
Well, it's like the episode with the New Eden where they beam down like in front of the church. Ah, there's nobody around. Well, yeah, great, dumbass.
Yes.
Beam in without. Yeah. Anyway. Great scene here with the tea. Do humans from Earth drink tea? And this is actually funny because the whole conversation kind of leads to the point that they're not there for Saru to reunite with his sister, and she kind of gets a little bit pissed off about that. You know, they're here for a different reason. I mean,
yeah, I like the tea line a lot. I do actually like.
Of course, you like the tea line. You're British.
I don't like tea at all. I don't drink tea.
I know you don't.
Yeah, thanks. But I thought the way they gave the sister time to breathe in this episode, I appreciated. I thought it was fine that she was a priest as well, and that the fact that they were able to have her meet Burnham, you know, meet the first extraterrestrial. I thought it was actually a really well handled scene. I thought, you know, it wasn't rushed. They didn't need it, but I thought it was really sweet, and it was fun to see the makeup. I mean, the shot I've got of the hands shows how different yet the same. I thought it was actually very nicely played. And then, yeah, the tea was fun and shows how friendly she is. And that I like that she says later on, you know, I was hoping you had made it and gone because you had escaped. So there was, you know, his impudence and want to do something else did rub off on her. And I kind of appreciate that she was very accepting very quickly, you know, and yet, you know, hates the fact that he's back as well. And very quickly the Ba'ul know. And we get some rumble, her threat ganglia, some wonderful CGI threat ganglia that actually move.
Yes.
Because other times don't necessarily move. Happen, and they have to beam away.
I thought for sure there was going to be a transport inhibitor or something that was activated by the obelisk, but no, they beamed away, so that was good.
Yeah, I was expecting a payoff there. Like getting captured or da-da, or da-da. Nope, just fine. Although she moves while she beams. It's really annoying. Like,
I know, but you can't even start that conversation. Because Enterprise screwed that up. Yes. 200 rubles.
Thank you.
Super chat. If Kelpians have such evolved perception abilities, why use a disguise? They will smell you from a mile away. Well, yeah. Good question.
And Sam Vime says, it was Saru's own village. It's not too surprising he'd run into an own family member. Such a small community. Well, yeah, he's only got one family member there alive. But, you know, he goes after the priest, and the priest happened to be his sister. So it's fine. It's fine. Yeah, the smell thing is interesting, actually, although I can imagine that, again, you got certain things you can assume are subtext, like, Saru said, we've got the smell sense. Here, Doctor did a pheromone that, you know, standard stuff. I mean, if they put the effort in to replicate his clothing, you'd replicate, you design other things to allow it. Yeah.
Yeah. Then they get asked to go to the bridge as soon as they transport
Lens
up.
flare.
And
Lens flare.
The important thing to point out here, they say go to yellow alert. Yep. Well, they do soon anyway. The Ba'ul are hailing them now, so whatever you did down there had an impact. And then it's audio only, of course, because I was expecting to see them right away, and it's like, no, of course not. And this is also where Saru crushes his panel out of frustration.
Yes.
Like, we've seen him crush a tricorder or a communicator and a phaser.
Yep.
On Pavo, so we know he's strong. But who's paying for that? Is that coming out of his? I guess you don't get paid in Starfleet, but damn, don't be wrecking my bridge.
Yeah, and this is a weird scene for us that we thought after the fact, because as soon as they hail, power goes down. Well, the lights go down, but there's certainly, things are. This single audio only transmission actively goes through shields. The shields are up at yellow alert, and it interferes and damages and changes ship systems.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. Through shields, it does a lot of damage. I mean, it's not as if they turned on mood lighting just to make more effect. I mean, the Ba'ul are so advanced they can actively affect, damage, change ship systems. But why would this race be more advanced than Starfleet?
Very good question, and I don't have an answer because it's just silly.
I mean, it's cool.
Yeah.
But it's it implies more than they realize, I think.
Yeah. This is where we hear 10th century ships are approaching, and then all of a sudden they're there. And Pike says, warm up the phasers.
Yeah.
And I put, at yellow alert, really? Because that's what yellow alert is.
Oh, no, he's already gone
yellow
to...
alert.
Why has he not gone to red alert at this point?
No, he's not. They're not. They don't need to be at red alert. Yellow alert energizes your phaser banks.
Yes.
And gets certain systems on standby. But your phasers are already charged and ready. Red alert is for arming the photon torpedoes and all the other stuff, but trust me, yellow alert is you energize the phaser banks, so they're already warmed up. So for Pike to say warm up the phasers, it's a great line, and people that don't know what yellow alert does, the phasers were already warmed up, so the guy at the phaser controls like, all right, done.
Well, it's a different ship, but those are the TOS rules. That might just be the Enterprises, the Connies.
Enterprise rules. It happened in Enterprise when they were working on the read alert. Read alert.
Oh yeah.
That's when the yellow alert thing came up, where the and Malcolm even says, "Have the energizers charged and ready to go for the next."
But it sounds good, Stuart. Don't put logic into Discovery, please.
Well, I'm just trying to be Trekyards. That's what we do. Yellow alert and stuff. It's technical. We need to.
Dude, I think you should get a super chat of someone saying well done.
Oh, jeez.
Although we have a side comment from Shannon Hagarthy. How do you figure the Ba'ul are that advanced to damage Discovery, disable Discovery? Just explained that because they turned off lights and made an impact through shields with an audio transmission. It's pretty advanced. Shields are designed for stuff like that,
Yeah.
But it's just weird that this race hasn't left the planet, at least chooses not to. I mean, we talked about this in our main discussion. I don't just want to go over it again, but it's weird that they'd be this advanced or want to be this advanced.
I just came up with something about warming up the phasers. They're energized. The phaser banks are energized. They're ready to go. Maybe warming up the phasers just means taking a little ball turret and just spinning it around. So make sure it's not like jammed or something. Just start spinning those ball turrets. Could be. Anyway, Saru gets a little bit aggressive here. He's told it's probably best if you don't speak during this transmission. And then he goes off on a tirade. And Pike's like, Mr. Saru, you will remove yourself from the bridge. Which is a great line, and Saru obeys, goes down. As soon as he gets in the turbo lift, I'm like, he's going to go to the transporter room.
Oh, yeah.
And sure enough, stands in the corridor for a second, and then books it for the transporter room.
And Tim Davies said, "Wow, it's amazing that he can get to the walk into a turbo lift, not saying anything. It knows to take him to a floor."
Yeah,
and gets him instantly. Good point. It's like,
and he didn't grab a handle like they do in TOS either. I mean, that would have been cool because you can twist it and stop it where you need to.
Yep, but I do like this scene. I like that Pike's being very professional, very good. But again, it's so telegraphed what Saru's going to do. It's not, you're not doubting it for a second. It'd be kind of nice if he swapped in duty first, but duty versus 18 years of regret and worry and thinking about your own family, and then betrayal of the he already didn't believe it when he was there. 18 years of seeing the stars.
You said duty.
I did. So I liked him getting dressed down, but again, you really should have crewman escort him to quarters, or crewman escort him to medical. He's clearly not acting like himself. To let him just walk out by himself is really dodgy. And then he just throws the guy out the transporter room. I love this. I did a screenshot of the control panel. If you look at the control panel, it says, do you want to do it in 15, 30, or 60 seconds? And there's a sub-panel to press for delayed beam. It's like, wow, that's quirky. It's fun, but it's quirky.
And it looks like the coordinates he set in are not found because they start with 404.
Then lens flare happens.
Well, hold on. Super Coops puts in £2 and says, "Well done, Captain. Oh, and happy new haircut." Well, thank you. Somebody finally noticed.
Actually, my mum said that as well from the video.
Oh, yeah? Nobody noticed last night in my live. I pointed out. Joseph Petrick puts in €2. Had to turn on the subtitles for the Ba'ul scenes. So did I. I couldn't understand a goddamn word they were saying. I heard maybe 20% of what they said, and I just put the rest together based on what the reaction was. So it was really blown out audio.
It's one of those things where, just like Bane from the original cinema release of, can you understand this like shit? It's like, I mean, surely someone in the art direction, the sound design was like, to have a villain be scary, you need to hear what he says. And because that's what they did, they actually changed the audio mix between the cinema and like 2 weeks into the cinema, and then again for the Blu-ray. So they actually, they completely changed it. I mean, I watched it in the early run, so I heard it its worst. So that's why I was like, I don't care. Bane's crap. That Bane's crap. Batman Robin Bane's much better.
150 rubles. The Ba'ul ships looks as if they were going to deploy some kind of Foley and web. Yeah, they had the things that came out, but really unimpressive looking design.
We'll get there soon.
Yes. No, you said lens flare.
Yes, lens flare, and then Burnham comes in again, pistol raised. Pistols are so quick to be used,
Mm-hmm.
Or
it's set on stun at least. It's blue. It's not red, so that's good.
But it's funny, like there's no risk in just stunning him. She should just walk in and stun him. Like it's not as if I'm going to kill you, Saru, unless you get with the pad. It's like I'll just stun you. Well, 3 times to take a lot to stun. But I do like his speech. It does bring it right home to, hey, my sister, your brother, do it or not, I'm going.
And you can see Burnham doing the exact same thing in this situation.
And she will. Yep. In like 3 episodes. And it'd be fun if she does the same card. She says, Saru, your sister, my brother, I'm calling her favourite. And he's like, but this is so much different. And she's like, no.
I helped you last week, man.
I helped you get captured. Although I was intrigued actually, because within a few seconds I go, bloody hell, lens flare, Jesus. They say he's actually turned himself in. Now that's not what I thought happened. I thought he actually went down and was going to do something, was going to rally the people. But anyway, I was really surprised. He just he had no plan.
Oh.
That was weird.
Yeah, and as soon as he turned himself in, the ships all of a sudden retracted their things, and it was I felt no threat from those ships. I really didn't. I mean, the size of them is impressive compared to Discovery, but
well, hold on, Stuart. Do you feel the threat of the shuttle bay door being still open?
Open?
Yeah, it's always open.
Yeah, it's more. Yeah, it's always open. Maybe it got blown out for some reason. They just said,
they can fix the saucer and the spore drop and the spore damage. They can't fix a garage door opener.
It looks cool open. That's why they have it open.
Yeah.
Edwin Champeau puts in $5.49 Canadian. Thank you very much. With no comments.
Oh.
But thank you very much. Much appreciated.
I'm gonna say his comment for him. Edwin, your comment was, "Wow, those are big ships." And yes, Edwin, they are. And I kind of like they have massive fireball engines at the bottom, but by the same token, I'm thinking
rockets.
But I'm thinking, why have they got massive fireball engines at the bottom?
It's visually cool, man.
But are they actually burning chemical thrust? Because can you name a single ship that uses chemical burning engines in Trek? Except the Phoenix and, Well, I guess I guess maybe to be fair.
These aren't the warp ships. These are the earlier ships. Because they've only had warp for 20 years.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Oh, well. That's what I'm saying. Maybe they're both. Maybe they are the warp fleet, but they still need... I mean, they haven't got impulse yet. They still need to use chemical propulsion to get into orbit. Although I believe in the writer's sketches, they said they're sentry ships. They're like just planetary sentry.
Yep, they did say sentry ships.
But they're not very impressive. And they're also low detail. They're dull. At least they're obelisk-y.
But they're so big compared to Discovery. That's the threat thing. And there's 10 of them, don't you know? That we're on an approach vector, and then all of a sudden we're just there. And
they're behind each other, and they like, it's a cool visual, but it's like, what? So they were single file, carefully maneuvering, just carefully maneuvering for the reveal. And I don't. And these weapons that are sticking out look like a dentist's like multi-tool. And it's like, I mean, come on, at least give us the conventional big glowy red death beam cannons.
Well, red's been overdone in this season, so.
And in this episode, they fire red laser beams of death, and then a red fireball red angel comes in, and they were about to fire red torpedoes. So it's a very like, it's not a red in the later scene. But yeah, these pose no threat, and they are, you know, Pike gives this lovely impassioned speech about, you know, he's our man. If you fight, this is war, and they're going against the Federation, that is it. But since you've no idea the threat of this race, which logically is far inferior to a coalition of races that has had, what, 100 member worlds at this point? And 80 years of shared technology? The best of 100 worlds? I mean, Discovery should be able to blow all these ships away instantly. If it can blow birds of prey away, designed to be tactical ships, this isn't even a warship. I mean, it should be nothing. Nothing at all.
Yeah, but what are they deploying? Like, it could be some kind of Foley and Webb device that encases the ship, or who knows? Who knows?
But you know what I mean? When you realise how much more advanced they should be, this means nothing. This threat, but we don't get a sense of threat because we don't get a sense of non-threat. It's just like there's ships. I don't know.
Yeah. Matthew DeFreitas, 1 photon each. Let's not waste ammunition.
Yes,
that's one of the best lines from that movie.
Yes.
Anyway, then of course we see Saru on the alien vessel, or not the alien vessel. It's the thing on the planet, but whatever. And it's a really piss poor redress of the transporter room. Oh, there's another scene before that.
There is.
They just didn't take notes for it.
Oh, but it's Tilly's scene with her saying things.
Yeah, and looking really good. Oh, and a really weird close-up of Arium. Wow. Damn. Yeah, this is where you see the screen with both sides having the information. They're talking about the evolution of the species on the planet. And yeah, that's about all it's for that scene. Oh, actually, they talk about that a little bit later. Sorry. So now we get to the bad.
Is this the one where they say we use information from the?
Yes, but then later, the later scene is where they point out about the evolution. So
it's kind of the MacGuffin. Oh, I do like Tilly saying basically this Ariel's much smarter, much better at this. I'm just sort of here to look and be pretty, as it were. And we got it. So I said early on that yeah, she's not exactly like the best choice for this. They have got the best choice. Tilly's just there to help. Because of Command Engineering Program, everything's about that.
Yes.
Just trying to get extra cred.
And then we see the bad transporter redress.
Well,
and
it's though?
So bad. It is. It is. Look, they got garbage bags draped over the bottom of the things. The light panels are all the same. Nothing's changed. It's just a transporter pad. It's just black.
But
like,
Stuart,
seriously?
They've got dot lights.
They do have dot lights.
A lot of them.
It's like a holodeck.
It's different, and it's dark.
Yeah, well, obviously it's different. Yeah.
Yeah, this was you can see where this might have been. Well, not necessarily a reshoot, but well, damn, we've run out of all of our money. Although I would think this would be annoying to redress. You know, it's like I would have thought it'd be easier and cheaper and more.
Not hard to redress. I mean, just cover up the transporter pads with the black thing. Use garbage bags on the side, like I said. That the transporter consoles are just they have put these walls with the lights in front of them.
And I guess the water pond is just
CG.
Well, I don't know. I guess it's cheaper if it's CG. Yeah, I suppose. I assumed it was actual water.
Yeah, Jeff Jacobs puts in $3. Fine, bribery it is. 5 more, and if we get to 150 likes. So they'll give us $5 more if you get to 150 likes, guys. We got 218 people watching. That shouldn't be too difficult. Likes are important. I don't know if you knew that, but on YouTube, likes are very important. Joseph Petrick put in €2. Dentist, thanks. I spat my coffee all over my laptop. I'm talking about the dentist tool, I guess. We don't want him spitting coffee on his laptop because then he won't be able to super chat. And Joseph's one of our premier super chatters. So
sorry, Joseph. But yeah, I mean, it's a pretty. I mean, they needed to just move the pillars, or cover them in something, because the shapes are so just the same. And every scene in this room took me out of the scene because I'm just like, oh, it's just a. It's similar to the scene with Jet Reno in her redress crew quarters, but it was so filled with stuff, and it's like, well,
that was a redress mess hall, which
was
was quite obviously the mess hall. Yeah,
it's like, I mean,
but that's another Federation ship. I can oversee that one. This is clearly an alien, a very alien race.
Well, I mean, it's also, as you see in the next shot, it's used as a transporter room too, which was not a good choice. And what's the point of this room? I guess it's just a meeting hall, because
that's why I think the representation of the Ba'ul that we see come out of it is more for like, it's like a holographic matrix maybe on the floor, and they don't actually look like that, because how can you get anything done with slime all over your body? And then the red flaring up eyes. I mean, if you're dealing with Kelpians that are terrified of everything, what better way to present your species to them than that? You know, you don't want to show them your true form necessarily. That is enough to terrify pretty much anybody. So, yeah. Got another, before you comment, got another super chat of 600 rubles.
Thank you, sir.
Damn, the Ba'ul design is ugly. Xenomorph and Samara Sadako from The Ring had a baby. Yeah. And this baby is so into latex bodysuits and tar baths. Yeah, I compared her to the lady from The Ring right away. It looks like she's crawling out of the well. And yeah.
But before we jump back to that, what do you think is drone things?
They look like the little drone from Beast Machines that was helping Megatron. But other than that, I think they're generic. They just... I don't know. Anybody that's watched Beast Machines, you know what I'm talking about. I was going to write that in my notes, but I didn't. But you asked me, so...
They should have been obelisks too. No.
They should have been. They should have been little obelisks to tie in something with the ship, because...
I like it in the sense that the vibe is that they use technology as their crutch, as the thing they've got, and so if everything is drones, then that's interesting. But then how did these creatures get to that point if, like you said, spindly and all that stuff? Also, it's just cheaper, I guess, to have these. People
are saying that they're exactly like the drones from Insurrection.
They're closer they could be. And they have this weird field that gets them onto a wall, and these walls have
This
collars.
Is like the bondage room. Yeah, because...
Yes. What?
This is the bondage room
you know
of the alien ship, because you throw somebody up against the wall and they get shackled. I mean, that's sweet. I want one.
I like how the shackles like just random bits of these squares.
Yeah.
Like, it would have been nice if they were already there, and then it like, this is a small thing, but it's like, oh, they're sci-fi, therefore they can have things that come out of the wall. I'm guessing this is where they take all the Kelpians, or like ones they want to question, because it seems to be very prepared to capture them, although very non-prepared to capture Kelpians with post-evolution, because he breaks out instantly, in essence, which means that it's not designed for ones of his enhanced version of strength. But anyway, then the creature appears, and now we've got enhanced pictures, so you've got hair slime tendrils on the face, you've got glowing red eyes, and then we skip away very quickly. Okay, we've got little... That's still to come. So back with the information, and now they need to work out
yes,
why and what happened in the past, because luckily the thing they bumped into...
Is it luck though, or is it because of the Red Angels that made sure they had this information prior to going here?
But the Red Angels...
I know they were following Spot Shuttle, and even though the red orb thing was red, it might be tied into the Angels somehow. It just seems like because that information was in their memory banks, that's why the Red Angels brought them here. Will Serby puts in £5. Burnham's white top is very reminiscent of the simple shirt from Star Trek Online. It even seems to have a similar pattern on it. Yeah, I have no problem with the undershirt look. That's actually kind of nice. Little Delta.
I was thinking, look, Delta on bloody everything. You know, branding, everything's like branding. But I thought it was very much like the Star Trek motion picture. You know, kind of like clean white. Like, it's weird to see non-uniform clothes and yet still Starfleet issue. In TNG, we always saw like uniform, civilian clothes, what you wear off duty, but there's like all this apparel. There's off duty or off uniform, and yet it's all still branded. So everything, standard Starfleet sweater, standard Starfleet issue crop top, standard Starfleet, jogging bottoms. It's like, why is everything what?
Because it's a uniform, so it has to be uniform with everyone.
Nah. So I did.
Anyway, yes, this is where we get.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. I was just gonna say this is where we get all the information about the event and how the Ba'ul were actually almost hunted to extinction or hit the extinction point at one point due to the Kelpians being the predators.
And there's actually these graphs
turned.
These graphs are really interesting because you can actually see I got screen caps. It goes so quickly, but before everything went down, you've got
19.
What, sorry?
I was just looking at the screen cap with 25,281 Ba'ul and 19 unevolved Kelpian.
Oh yeah.
It's like, damn.
Yes. But also, well, yeah, I mean, it shifts so radically. It's 2 to 1 Kelpian to Ba'ul, and yet the evolved Kelpian and the Ba'ul are sharing. They share all the space in the first screen cap with the space, and the unevolved, they are the ones that everywhere else. They're in between. So it showed that, and again, it's going really deep, and who cares? But evolved and non-evolved didn't actually coexist, which was interesting, I guess. And then, the next one shows now the evolved Kelpian have killed all the unevolved Kelpian, I guess?
I don't know, man.
Because they haven't become evolved Kelpian, the number is only 300 more. So, but the Ba'ul are getting killed as well, and then all of a sudden there's like 200 Ba'ul and slightly more Kelpians and no unevolved. So what happened to the unevolved? And then all of a sudden they've killed
I don't know, man.
The Ba'ul killed
don't
both.
Ask me. Hey, don't ask me. I just work here, all right?
And that seems like a low number, 19.
Yeah, it's a very low number.
Can you evolve? Can you create, a 50,000
viable community from 19? I mean, you can
years.
give it a long enough time, and if you aren't all related, you should be fine, I guess. Joseph Petrick puts in €2.
Thank you.
Burst, dripping, bondage. What a review we have. That's why you come here. You never know what's going to happen on a review.
It's the review you always wanted.
But weren't aware that you wanted.
Well, Stuart was, but he was afraid to give it to you. No, this is getting bad. Let's move on.
Just quiet, yes. All right, so we got creepy ring girl standing in her puddle. And this is interesting. This is where you see the predator spikes come out on Saru just instinctually. He doesn't control them because the Ba'ul makes a point of saying that in a second. But he launches these spikes, which is actually really cool. And then this is another reason I think that this could be some kind of holographic display or something, just a communications room perhaps, because the spikes kind of hit like a force field. Could be protecting the person, that's fine, but I don't see that being a viable species looking like that. I think it's made to instill fear and terror.
I mean, you can see how there'd be prey, but also there's no meat. I mean, we said in our review, prey implies eating. Especially 2,000 years ago when it was all huts and basic stuff. They're not sport hunting a secondary race for #lol. I mean, this race doesn't look like they have much meat. Maybe it's high in 100% protein in their body. They're a protein-based life form. I don't know. It does seem a bit odd. And yeah, I do like the fight response, although, 2 days into Saru's transformation, he's now already got this working, and he's already got an offensive measure already.
Well, it's defensive. It's defensive because it's instinctual that they fired. It wasn't. He didn't fire them offensively. It was because of the situation.
Okay. Yeah. Well.
So.
His speech is pretty interesting because they explain how you don't know what you're talking about. You were a scourge. You brought us to extinction.
Yeah.
When we will never let this happen again. This is unacceptable. And suddenly the tides turned. It went from being what we assumed that Ba'ul were harvesting the Kelpians to eat. That was kind of the cattle species, the cow, the hippo of the I don't know of the world. But no, they're culling them to stop them from evolving because the proto version of them almost killed them. So it's a weird thing to do, but in a smaller sense, it is actually to create a level of harmony, because the Ba'ul don't take those that aren't pubertying, and it's random because the dad did it after the fact.
The Fahari, that's the thing.
So it's whenever. Some people have long lives and have kids. Some people can't go young, and the Kelpians are living in harmony and peace. They said so. While the Kelpians did bring these guys to almost extinction, and they then had to fight back, these guys are actively allowing them to live and have for 2,000 years, and not as a cattle. But there is some small sense of mercy, even if it's not a good mercy. It's
balance. It's like gaming restrictions for hunting bears or even crab fishing. You only pick ones from a certain size. You can't pick the females. Yeah. Different things like that, just to make sure the population doesn't go extinct, but it also doesn't grow out of control. So, yeah. We got a really interesting super chat of 250 rubles.
Dude, you're on
fire.
Darker.
Let's get even darker. 19 is fine if there's no hereditary diseases, but I don't think that measurement unit is single Kelpians, more like 1,000. So 19 represents 19,000, or even 1,900. I would buy that. I would really buy that.
Let's go back to that for a second then. It depends, because you get a sense that there's so few villages, so few whatever.
Well, they said how many villages there were, but I can't remember the number.
It was 79 obelisks, around that.
Okay.
So you think that's 29 million evolved Kelpian?
Yeah, could be.
Right, okay.
It makes more sense for planet-wide.
It does, but for a computer that's displaying information, that's a flawed way of displaying information. It should say million at the end. This is a computer. Computers don't make arbitrary mistakes. They don't show information poorly. So saying zero. Well, so you're saying zero. So is not 10 million. If all the unevolved Kelpian are dead, then where did the new unevolved Kelpian come from? If they're as evolved. So I think I don't know if that's a problem with graphics. We're taking a lot of stock in them, but they go by really quick. And they're not necessarily designed for the sort of let's actually look at them. Yeah.
Michael Elliott puts in $5. Culber is renewed physically, but can't emotionally recall his relationship with Stamets or his attraction. That would be interesting and heartbreaking. A lot of people have made the joke that now that he's back, he's into females. It's gonna crush Stamets.
That's interesting.
I've heard that a few times today. It's going to be interesting to see where that goes, but
sidestep, but interesting sidestep.
Yeah, back to the situation. Well, this is where we hear that he's the first Kelpian to survive the Fahari in over 2,000 years, and then Saru goes on a drone crushing spree, which is really cool, actually,
and real easy, and they're also not, shooting weapons, and they're obviously quite limited.
Yeah.
And
then of course Saru, because he's Saru, builds a transmitter out of the parts of the drones. Did that bug you as much as it bugged me?
I hated this moment with a passion.
Okay, good.
It's just so stupid.
Yes.
Because I was going to say this in our review, and I even thought it again while I was re-editing it. All the effing Ba'ul technology, when you destroy it or it falls and destroys in neatly
arranged piles,
interconnectable pieces that are none of them are damaged, none of them are broken, and all can be reconnected together to form a new component. So you can turn a drone into a long-range communication device through shields, presumably, and also somehow turn that same thing into a signal wave jammer that can also receive signals from an alien source with no visible data pad or control pad to interface. Like, a communication device I can vaguely buy, but to receive information I don't buy for a second, and then for that code to be relatable into an alien ship's computer, again, completely nonsense, complete bullshit. Ugh! Dumb.
I know. I thought the same thing.
Stupid.
So I'm glad I'm not the only one.
So stupid. I hated that. And he doesn't even understand the tech. This is different. This is 18-year-old, more advanced drone tech. It's not... You can't plug and play. You give a Tholian, right, a Gorn shuttle. He's not going to make it... He's not going to deconstruct it and turn it into a bloody transwarp portal because, lol, I feel like it. It's different. What if it's out of power? What if it broke it too much? I'm actually more mad than I was watching it, but it's just such a stupid lack of thought sequence. So like, oh yeah, he'll just put 3 pieces together and it'll be a communicator, and I'll put a 4th piece and it'll be a signal transmitter. Ha! Go away. Stupid.
All right, fine.
Oh, and cut. Stream over. Anticlimactic. No. Guys, that bothered you?
Anyway.
Yes.
Yeah. So next scene is we're going to force evolution, or the Fahari, on the entire Kelpian population, and use the obelisk to transmit the signal.
I like this less and less as I think about it more and more.
Exactly, and this is what I was feeling last night. It's like, really?
And also, Pike is so okay with it. He's so fine with it.
Yeah, yeah. But see, this episode was too long. They could have taken like 15 minutes out of this episode and made it a lot better, in my opinion. That's one of the reasons I was bored, I think.
Well, it needs a better 15 minutes to help keep the sense going, to keep developing. It's interesting though, but I kind of liked how long it was. But
made me miss the beginning of Orville, so I was pissed.
Oh, sorry. But no, Pike really annoyed me here because you have not got the right to force a painful process using a not tested, artificially created signal from a creature that was dying, that over the course of several hours changed one of your crew members, unknowing to him, do not know long-term side effects. You're not even detected him for several hours. He's been in the prisoner, and he's agreed to transform the entire planet's population into a new form of life without knowing any repercussions long term. He has not got the fucking right to do that.
Pike was hesitant about it, not very long, and he did show his dissatisfaction with it, but let them proceed with it.
You just
so it's not like he was like, I know, but here we are. It happened. Let's just talk about it. There's no sense. I
know, but it's just not okay. Like I don't agree with what Ba'ul are doing, obviously, but it feels wrong. It feels invasive. It feels like gene rape. I mean, it is. It's in. I mean,
let's make every woman on the planet have her period right now.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I mean, well, it reminds me very much of. Have you seen the film Serenity? You must have. The Firefly movie?
One? No.
Oh, fine. Damn it.
I have it.
Well, you all know the story of Miranda. That's exactly what's happening here. But that does not go so well. Well, I doubt this will go well either. And again, he puts the device into the hole. Why is there a centrally controllable transmitter box inside a greeting torture room that is one punch away and accessible and reroutable? And Stuart, why are there no safety protocols that this advanced race, warp capable, just say bleep bleep, deactivate the signal, bleep bleep, deactivate
that room?
It's like, why is he? At least let him run to a control center and kick some of the arse of the Ba'ul and be like, and shoot some, and then.
That's where the extra 15 minutes that could have been cut out could have been used to make the story a little bit more coherent.
Yeah.
And not so convenient. There was a lot of coincidences and conveniences in this episode.
The ending, especially.
A lot. Yeah. Yes, and just the fact that it appeared over his home planet and that he ran into his sister within 5 minutes of beaming down. Yes.
Well, he was actively looking for the but I just it just feels so easy and again yeah. And again, I don't approve the evolution and it all.
And also, it seems like the structure. And maybe I'm wrong, but the structure that's 50 kilometers in diameter is in the lake that raises up. Yes. Is that the lake right in front of his village? Of course it is.
Yes.
Of course it is.
And did you notice that when we see it at the end, it's been destroyed? It's in the background. So the EMP actually destroys the building. So does that mean all the Ba'ul on top of it are dead? So does that mean that Red Angel chose to kill... I mean, obviously skipping near the end, but, you know, so...
Anyway.
This has gone... Oh, sorry. Skipping back again. So, yeah, they activate all the obelisks and
hail those... Oh, sorry. Pike's line here, hail those bastards. Love that. This is where he's a little bit too lenient. He's not like, just stop what you're doing, or we're going to, you know, he's like, stop what you're doing. We can find a diplomatic solution because you don't want to make us an enemy. It's like he went on a little too long for me. He was a little too Federation-y. I would have been a little bit more harsh in that situation, personally, because they're obviously their intent is something that you know, you need to stop.
But again, he hasn't got the right to say stop.
True, but they're going to commit genocide. There's no way a Federation officer is going to stand by and watch genocide.
Genocide because he chose to evolve them all.
Is that why, or is it just because Saru was fighting back? And...
Well, no. This is after all the people going. Argh! So it's because he'd rather have them all dead than be evolved. So obviously at that point he's got to get involved because he's made them all evolve. Therefore he's got to stop them from being killed. And now he's got to attack this other race. He's starting a war now because actions he did. It just bugs me. It's a great building that comes out of the water though.
Yeah.
I like the building. It's cool. Looks like Anubis' militia bit.
Yeah, and to see all of the interconnecting obelisks from orbit, that was also very cool. So there's some cool visuals here for sure. I love when they get ready to fire up the photon torpedoes and the guy just puts his finger across all the buttons.
That was a great little...
It was great. It absolutely was great.
It's dumb, but it's analog. And, like, something analog. It wasn't...
Yes.
It's like... It's cool.
Yeah.
Because you know what? We're evolving to analog jelly beans. That's where the technology's going in 10 years. Remember? Canon.
Stop using the term jelly beans. I really hate that.
Oh, do you? Oh.
If anything, there's starbursts.
Look at this.
What are the clear ones? Jolly Ranchers.
And this is a few seconds ago. This is when the redress of the transport room is even more obvious. When you get this nice long wide shot and the fake windows, and it's like
fake windows look great though. They did a fantastic job.
Good green screen. But it's like wow, that's the transporter room.
Yeah. 250 ruble super chat.
Thanks, sir.
First thought after the angel appeared, well, that photon torpedo is very weird. You know what? I thought the same thing because the way it was paced and edited, it's like, what the hell is going on? Because that doesn't look right. And then it's like, oh yeah, okay, that's what it is. It's an angel.
Well, from even the screen caps, I mean, it appears between the ship and the planet. And in rewatching, it's really weird how it sort of like fires into existence, then disappears, and moves forward and fires back in. And it's like I thought it was like a stone being thrown across a pond. It's jumping as it's trying to like breach its way into our time. And it was a bad choice to make it red or the beams red because it's quite, you know, torpedoes are red, the beams are red, the lasers are red, the Red Angel's red.
There's, like I said, there's a lot of red in this. I'm glad they didn't do the room red, like, or the alien ships red, like you had said earlier.
Yeah, it's true. And then in the transporter room, I mean the alien room somewhere, Saru uses his magic eyes, which I will appreciate they were set up in another episode. They were genuinely set up. It was a dumb setup, but at least they're not magic now.
They're not magic. Magic eyes. It's like jazz hands.
And then, yes, we see the thing we've been waiting to talk about the entire time. We see a Red Angel through the filter of Kelpian's advanced predator eyes. And there it is.
Those are female hips, dude. I don't care what you say.
Well,
those are female hips.
I mean, now I'm looking. Doesn't it look a bit like Tilly? Because it's not exactly a thin
It
frame.
does look like Tilly. I threw that around last night. But clearly advanced sort of
suit.
tech suit. And whoever it is took the time to stop and say, "Hey, Saru, how's it going?
Hey, buddy.
Listen, just making sure everything's good. All right, bye."
This was a really interesting twist. I don't know how I feel about it, honestly. How do you feel about it?
It demystifies them quite a bit.
Which I liked.
Mm-hmm.
But you?
I liked it. We're getting closer to an answer, and it's not something that's... It's going to be time travel involved. It's going to be something like that, which if they do it properly, this is what I said all through Enterprise, though. Cold War, they can fix things. They can make the canon. The little mistakes they make, they can fix it. Did they? Nope. So I'm hopeful, but I'm also very hesitant. 150 ruble super chat. Tilly, Red Angel, Redhead Angel. Ha. That's what I said last night.
That's funny.
Red hair makes the red glow. Yeah.
Yeah. But I like the suit. I like it's very techno. I like it. It's not an angel. I like that. They clearly, they did say as one of the things that they reshot was removing lots of Pike's faith Christianity stuff because it felt out of place and it wasn't reviewed well. And so he had just a smidge. It was just enough. Great. Now it's tech. And I like his actual, right at the end, he clearly is intrigued by it's now tech. Because it makes sense. Yes. I mean, that's what they say. And he says this. Any advanced technology is indispensable for magic from angels. But really, this physical entity itself is bog standard easy. I mean, the Federation could build a suit that can fly with blades that come out of a backpack that hover. This in itself is not at all difficult. It's that it manages to fire an EMP pulse, which disables, we can sort of assume, the entire planet's worth of electromagnetic stuff, because we can definitely assume that the Ba'ul are not limited to that one base, even though that was the headquarters, they said. And you'd need to disable everybody to be effective, otherwise they would just reroute and do something else. But it's interesting. Something, as Tyler said, is travelling in time, and we'll get there at the end. But there you go, guys. That is the Red Angel.
It's Tony Stark.
Nice. Knee pads and all, guys. You can see it. Knee pads and all.
Jeff Jacobs puts in $3 and says, "I think it's Tilly from the pod." I don't think it's Tilly. I mean, much as it's not, thighs aren't thick enough to be Tilly's, the legs aren't. It's not Tilly. At least not in that shot. I'm not saying anything bad, but it's just clearly not Tilly.
I would be thoroughly disappointed if it was anyone from the crew. Thoroughly let down. Yeah. Thoroughly. Yes.
John Harrison puts in £2.
Gone!
It's 7 of 9 when she did that future mission.
That would be an interesting twist.
Everybody's been guessing everybody. We even heard Morn at the beginning of this live chat. It's Morn from the future. So we'll just add him to the list. We're just going to have a checklist. And as soon as we find out who it is, we're like...
Every female in Trek. Yeah. Terrible. So yeah, sends out an EMP, which fries everything. And and as you can see, a pretty hefty wave. And Detmer specifically says, "It's impossible." Well, apparently not. I love how the angel disappears. It kind of like gets powerful and like it's a cool effect. I like the effect. And now it's an orange angel, and it's slightly different actually in this version. I like there's definitely a face mask. You can see there's like an eye, like a bit that separates the eyes. It's cool. It's a good looking weird suit. And then disappears, and there we go. Back to the transporter room. I mean back to the planet. And everyone's like, "Huh.
What happened? These look yummy."
Yeah. I love how just nonchalant everyone is. Just like, "Oh. Wow. Our death ritual didn't kill us. That's weird." You know what I mean? I was a bit underplayed by them a little bit. Like, it's the whole nature of their being. But I guess they have no fear now. I didn't even notice the obelisk was actually destroyed in this shot. The CGI obelisk on top of a beach. I didn't even notice that the first time around. Because it got EMP'd. So how did that get destroyed?
I noticed it right away.
Well, how did it get destroyed then? I guess it fell.
Well, I would assume the beam like hit every one of them and they just lost their power and fell.
Right.
But there's no impact crater where it would have hit. I noticed that. I was looking for that.
That's funny.
It's almost like it blew apart, and
where did the transmitter fall off from?
I don't know. Don't even start.
Because look, it's smooth on the outside.
Well, it's when they opened the gate to beam the people up. That's when it fell from the ship or whatever they were beaming to. That's the implication.
That's even stupider. I thought it just fell from the
Anyway,
Jesus.
No. It obviously didn't.
Oh, that's even stupider.
Anyway, next scene. Oh, go ahead.
Well, yeah. Just she's saying it'll be fine, everyone. Don't worry about your single most important feature and your single death ritual. It's fine, guys. Like what? It's fine. Don't worry. And also, look at that big thing behind us. It's blown up now. Don't worry.
Yeah. Next scene, it looks like Ash finally went to see the barber because his beard is nicely trimmed for once. Doesn't look like a caveman. His hair still needs some work, but whatever.
Yeah, he's got a certain look now, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's got to stop. It doesn't work. But this interaction with Pike and Tyler is really cool. He's giving him the information as part of the exchange. Doing my thing. He still doesn't trust him. You can tell. Body language says it all. But it's where we find out that it's a mechanical suit. We can see through because of Saru's better eyes. Extremely advanced technology. And again, this is where, with what Tyler's saying, Pike is like, Section 31 is really paranoid. Even says that. And then they talk about the war for a second. And then there's a really low blow from Tyler who says, the people that fought in that war were actually still torn apart by it, and he walks away. Pike didn't have a chance to fight in that war because the Enterprise wasn't recalled back. Remember, that was a sore spot for him early on. You can see it on his face that was a low blow from Tyler. So it's kind of calling him out to be like a coward for not participating in the war.
Although, wasn't Vok a coward for snapping the Doctor's neck before running away from the ship?
You know what? He didn't have control over that. But yes, you're right.
No, I did read a comment from actually our main review saying he's such a hypocrite in this scene. Like, you're a weird, freaky middleman that helped kill lots of people, and you were a bad part of a death cult, Takuma's death cult, and agreed with his plan, and you're a horrible, horrible Klingon, and as a human you were fine, and then you're in both, and then and you're lecturing Pike. Really? Really? And now you're part of Section 31, the dodgy devil of the Trek world. This is Captain Pike, one of the 12 Connie captains that did a 5-year mission, picked by Admiral April to lead, and chosen by Starfleet to take command of their most advanced ship, sort of. And you're lecturing him. He's a bit rich. Like, he has no leg to stand on. I'm surprised Pike didn't throw, everything back at him. But he was obviously...
I'm sure Pike will. They've got an interesting relationship. I want to see them at odds again because I love Pike's reaction to him when he first got on board. You're going to stay on the bridge as per liaison protocol. It really keeps him in his place because he doesn't trust him, and I don't blame him.
Oh yeah, well, I was about to say. I mean, talk about not earning trust. I mean, being a dick in one of your few meetings. I mean, you're not trying to gain any favors, but again, as I said in our review, he's definitely drank the Section 31 Kool-Aid. I mean, he is so in that. It's
like they should both stand up and just whip them out on the table and measure them, because that's what it is. It's a dick measuring contest between these two.
Is that fair, though? Because Tyler once had 2. Did they average them out? Did they put them together? I mean, which one did he get to keep?
Did he, though?
Was the original colour? I don't know.
Did he just not pee after sex, and then in the morning there's 2 streams? This happens. It's a thing.
Stupid discovery of doing stupid things. But it's a good scene, and I like the rationale. It's like it's advanced tech, which is scary, and like I said in the offset, they know about Temporal Cold War. This is confirmed. The idea of it being who knows what. It's now it is something in a suit, in a single that's pretty cool. A time traveling one entity suit that can do an EMP wave. That's a really advanced piece of tech. We've not seen it before. It's always had to be in some sort of ship, or has there even been a smaller than a ship, like a pod? Has there ever been a... Well, I guess no, the 31st century, I guess TARDIS pod would be the closest equivalent. That's probably smaller than the Aeon, but it's very advanced. I mean, that's the furthest thing we've ever seen, I think.
Absolutely.
And then we.
And then it ends with Sarana not wanting to stay on Discovery. She needs to go help her people in this new blah blah blah.
Although I did love the exterior shot. That's a gorgeous little cheeky shot.
Yeah.
Although, someone who does texture work sometimes, I thought, wow, that's a really... Why is the hull that textured? When they put the ship together, is the plating really that... What do all those little marks mean? It's like hull plating is big, because they got to make it look detailed, but it's like, why is all the metal etched with little rectangles?
Because it looks cool, man.
I know, but it's weird.
And then it ends, of course, with Burnham saying, "This has all got me thinking. I have to go to Vulcan."
Yes. Yeah.
And apparently the preview for the next episode, which I haven't seen yet, this Spock is in it, and he's apparently hiding on Vulcan.
Maybe.
I mean, what a better place to hide, honestly. Where are you going to hide a Vulcan? On Vulcan, there's no one would think to look for him there.
I mean, there's billions of life signs. Yeah. I don't know if it was directly what they implied, but I can certainly see it as likely. Yeah, we've now got a new focus, and it's all about the sibling relationship. Now, now all we need is Pike's brother or sister to help finish off the trifecta. And there we go. And there we go. So now we're going to run through the pictures in the double time as we do in Premiere, and that's our scene by scene review. So Stuart, do you like this episode more or less than our first review and your first viewing? Now really analysed it. A
little bit more, to be fair. I need to go watch it again because I watched it twice, obviously the same night, so I might have been in a bad mood. I just didn't. It was boring. Now watching it again, it's always better to go back and watch stuff later anyway. It doesn't seem to drag on quite as long, and now that you know where it's going, you can watch for things. So I really appreciate it a little bit more. I think initially I gave it, a 6.5? What was my score last time? I don't know. A 5. Oh, yeah, you gave it 6.5.
I gave 7.5.
7.5. All right, I'm going to have to up my score to a 6 or a 6.5.
Yeah.
Because 5 was a little harsh.
Yeah,
got to be fair.
And I think I'll stick with a 7.5 or 7 because there are still big plot convenience points. And, just like in the Voyage episode Threshold, it's ridiculous that the Doctor could unevolve them in 30 minutes. You know what I mean? And the return to their physical form are the same, everything. That's also dumb. Saying that you can evolve an entire species with a signal. It's like, it's not really how evolution works. That's more a, it'd be much smarter if it had been a suppressed growth spurt rather than evolution. Because evolution takes time and, you know what I mean? It's not the same thing. And just a signal seems very odd and simplistic. So there's a few really big problems with this episode, but I think it's strongly medium with a few bits that let it down, but they don't interfere if you watch it as a surface thing. As a surface thing, it has no problems. It just goes, it's quick, it's fun, it's interesting, but as we find the little things because that's, they have time to make it perfect. So what do you guys think then? Let us know your thoughts out of 10. Well, I guess also we sometimes get commented on saying, wow, you give it 8 out of 10. Yeah, but obviously in comparison to Discovery, what score do you give compared to, say, a TNG episode?
Xavier Gamer gives it a 7. You're asking me a question, sorry?
Yeah. I'm saying, we give our reviews to the Discovery show, not to other Trek. Yes. So how would you give it out of 10 compared to Star Trek in general?
It's, to be fair, from what I've heard of a lot of people's opinion, it's very Star Trek-y. So I would have to still give it like a 6.5 or a 7.
I'll give it like a 5 or a 4. It's like sort of below average Trek. It's like, yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Because so
I hate the number system because it's all just shooting in the dark kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. And there's some 6s you think are much better than other 6s, but you're trying to work out where in the spectrum. So yeah, people saying what 7, 6,
See, it's
7.
a 6 at best for me, 7.5. So, but yeah, okay. So a lot of people had kind of the same feeling that I did about it, which is great, good to hear. Because the admin team, wow, they were like, wow, this is fantastic, this is great. And Joe's like, oh, this is the best ever, and I'm like, really? It's kind of meh for me. Sorry to call you out, Joe, but
no more super chats from him.
150 rubles. That
Thank
was
you.
not evolution. That was a puberty ray. Dun dun dun.
Not gonna disagree.
Yeah. A 4, a 6, a 7. Still felt very, very Trek. Give it a 6. Okay.
That's
Give it a
good.
7.5. The initial 8.5. Yeah, Jeff, one of our admins, gave it an 8.5 originally, and then he watched the Orville and watched it again, and then said it was a 7.5. So
it's tricky with this sort of thing because it's well shot. It's for the most part well acted, although nothing really
well shot with lens flares.
Yeah, but we didn't even notice them. That's the thing. I noticed like 3 on the offset. There's at least like 15, 20 if you edit. You know, I've shown them in the edit reviews. There's so many, and we're seeing them as we go by. So that's actually, you know, they're so quick, you're blinking, you miss them.
It's still better than anything in season 1. Well,
yes.
anything. Better than most of season 1.
Mud was still great, but that's how I just love time loop things.
Yeah.
Yeah, if this was in season 1, I think we would enjoy it as average Trek and a good payoff to the Saru story, I think is what we were saying.
It's an evolution revolution. It's Beast Machine, says 90 Lancaster. Yes. That's the second Beast Machines reference. Dun dun dun. Anyway. -10 from what I've seen of it. Wow. This week a 5.5 or a 6. See, okay, I'm pretty much.
Oh, read Total Anthony, Stuart. Yay.
Read what?
Read Total Anthony's comment.
I've got to find it here.
It's pretty new still.
Well, why don't you read it?
Hey, gents. I purchased one of your pin-up tees earlier. Happy to help you guys out.
Which one? There's a bunch of pin-up tees. Which one did you order? I'm happy there's Trek. I agree.
Yeah. So, thanks for joining us, guys. And we are only at 11 my time, so we've got a few minutes for questions if you guys want to ask us anything or have any final comments or questions, because this was quite an interesting one. I think we've pretty much reached the end of what the trailers showed, because that creature was one of the last, like, things.
Yeah, the venom-looking creature.
And we've still got half the full season left. Just under half now. Yeah, 14, yeah, so half. Exactly half. So...
No, next one's half.
Sorry, 7,
14,
yes.
7.
Sorry, yes. And
Yes.
we did miss the Spock on the shuttle planet. Although, it's funny, I rewatched the trailers just because I did, and there's a cut we knew was bollocks, but they showed the shuttle with Spock and Burnham in, and then getting hit by a torpedo, and that's just the one that, you know, Giorgio gets hit. It's like, oh yeah, of course they didn't get shot. It was so blatantly a re-edit. Didn't catch us out on that one. I wonder how many other things. Oh, editing.
Yeah, Jeff Jacobs got one of our Trekyards mugs, our pin-up mugs. He's shared a picture of it. Guys, check out the description below. The Teespring store. Lots of cool stuff. Lots of cool Trekyards swag you can get.
Oh, that's a Stuart initiative. It's great.
It is.
Ask any questions, guys.
Can you create effects of Discovery going up against the TOS 1960s Enterprise? Feel that'd be pretty cool. Going up against, like, fighting?
Yes.
Dun dun dun.
Well, it's funny because I'd have to downscale Discovery because it would look stupid otherwise. Because it'd be so hulking and Enterprise look so small. Well, I'll tell you something, Stuart, I've been wanting to do for a little while. I was in the gym the other day and I was like, because it's kept very repetitive. I just cycle, but it's an hour of just cycling. And I was thinking I've talked this before, but I'd see what you guys think. I'd love to do a re-edit of Discovery to make a new episode 1. Like, fresh episode 1, use the clips that exist, use the scenes, but reformat a proper episode 1, maybe episode 2. We've said before we'd start episode 3, start at that moment, but how would you make an actually cohesive episode 1 that would really like engage people and make them interested? And to make it more interesting, I would then create new visual effects in between, because I hate how they, Discovery gets the shuttle. I hate that. So I would just create a new sequence of actually going to Discovery, stuff that's actually new. And when I do that, I would actually then edit the Discovery itself. I mean, I'd want to be consistent with the visual look, because otherwise what's the point? But I would do the simple things that we'd all fixed, like shorten the nacelles, change the deflector, fill in the saucer, a few key things, and shrink it. But I'd love to do that. I think it would be really fun to, create a more cohesive episode 1 with more cohesive visual effects as a little mini project. What do you think?
Do it. I think that'd be fantastic. I mean, you always run these ideas by new visual effects and stuff like that, and I just do it.
Yeah, I
feel like CBS might be on your ass.
Well, I feel like I need funding for that, just because it's such like a time suck. I would want to get a new Discovery model done.
Mm-hmm.
Something that's a sort of a combination. Because I'd remove the copper. Because the only reason the ships are copper is because Brian Fuller wanted it copper. That's it. There's no reason at all beyond that.
Yeah.
So I would make them more the creams and whites of TOS and TMP, and instantly that should help. I mean, keep the same design, because you've got to be faithful. Same with the shuttle. I'd get a new shuttle built, but obviously it would have to be the same warp shuttle variant, just refine it slightly more into a canonical feel. But I'd be tempted to try and do a mini, even a live fundraiser. Help me make a new Discovery episode thing. See if we can raise a couple of hundred on super chats, and I can just spend a week or so just taking off and do that. Because I think it'd be really fun. Because I was thinking I would take out Landry entirely, almost entirely from the show.
Yes, please do.
I would leave her in as she greets everyone, but take out the racist and bitchy and horrible stuff, because there's so many people that are in one scene and never come back. It's a thing in Trek. It's not as if people notice, oh, she's here for a scene and leaves.
Yeah.
So she does her little job, but she's not important. And her death I would completely erase her death. Because I wouldn't make the tardigrades seem as menacing, because it's such a shift from being a villainous creature to being a friendly guy. It's so jarring that I'd remove that as being as much of a horror element. Make it far more cohesive. Especially as we want to...
Copper is a superconductor. Maybe that's why, for the spore jumps. Why the ship is copper. Also, Anti-Trekker messaged me. He's wondering when his conversation with us about the Borg Queen will be released. I forgot we had that.
Yeah, I mean, part 1 was out. It's more just a case of didn't want 2 of that. I mean, we released 3 Borg specials in a row, and they didn't do the best view-wise. So just wait a little while to do the secondary conversation, so it's less Borg, and Borg. Plus, we're trying to do some more ships, actual ships on Saturdays. So I think that's pretty much why we released that. Trying to find it. It was a while ago now. But
just wanted to remind you, because I'd forgotten about it.
No, I think I've edited a portion of it as well. But we really want to focus on getting some prime ships out. Especially with Discovery around. But yes. I mean, I want to film more. Those are fun debates to have, and I think...
Well, he wants to come on and talk to us about Discovery sometime.
Oh.
I'm like, dude, you're a little too negative for that, but we'll see. He hasn't responded to that yet, but we'll see.
That would be...
He just wants attention for his channel, but that's okay. Go check out Anti-Trekker. He's a good guy. Does some good videos. But yeah, hour and 58 minutes, so almost the 2-hour mark, guys. If anybody has any more super chats they'd like to send, that'd be cool. If not, that's understandable, but I guess this is where Samuel was supposed to say, who wants to be the last super chatter? Have that fake crown put on your non-existent internet head.
Yes.
Disco is made of titanium. Yes, it is. Not copper. I'm going to go like this video. Who's with me? Yes, please go like the video. We're at 199 viewers.
84? Jeez.
That's sad. We gotta hit at least 100. Come on, guys.
110 likes. Come on, guys.
T-Berg sci-fi fan, $5 Canadian. Tafa. I think he means ta-da. He's gonna be the last super chat. It's supposed to be ta-da, but it's tafa. Tafa. Sounds odd. Me Grimlock, not Kisser. Me King. Yes.
Yeah, so pretty decent week this week. I found it funny that we had different views last week. We've had half of them be the same opinion, half of them be opposite opinion, which is kind of funny.
Well, last night I watched my first reaction live video because I'm like, Samuel's probably going to love this episode. Or he's going to really hate it based on the rating or something. But I was pretty confident you were going to love it. So I guess that's why subconsciously I said I had to hate it so we could
and I was convinced this morning. I was walking in being like, I liked it, but I didn't love it. I was like, he's going to love it. He's going to think it's brilliant. He's going to love the sci-fi. It's very TNG, but more dynamic. It's got single story. It's not serialized. It's episodic. I was like, he's going to love it. And he likes Saru, you know? Great. 99, come on. One more like than 100. I want to get 110.
And Tim Theo just put in $1, so he's the last super chatter.
Nice. And then I'm going to edit Monday's video. That's next.
And don't forget to watch Orville at some time. I want to talk to you about Orville.
Tuesday. I've got that. It's the first two parts, which I'm excited to...
Tuesday.
I'm excited to see, because how do they do a two-parter? You know?
Oh, they do it very well.
But that's what I mean.
I just need to stop talking because otherwise I'm going to get your hopes up or something.
It's already, several people have already told me, so it's got to be effing amazing, otherwise it'll let me down, and that's a problem. What film was it that I saw that expectations were huge, and then it was just like, Guardians of the Galaxy 1. I was like, it's the best film ever, best Marvel film ever. I watched it, I was like, yeah, it's good. It's good. It's not amazing, because everyone said it was amazing. Whereas like Deadpool's fun because I knew it was amazing, walked in and it was effing amazing. That actually hit those expectations completely, which is unusual when you have expectations. Deadpool 2 was less amazing, but still great to see.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that.
I saw Happy Death Day 2 yesterday, Stuart.
And?
You have not seen Death Day 1, have you?
I have not.
It's great.
I have no desire to.
It's great. It's clever. I said to Marie that it's very much the Aliens to Alien if Aliens was less good. In that, unlike Die Hard 2, which is the same film trying to be the same film again, a sequel has to be the same film but bigger, and it fails. Aliens is, we want to do a new film, a new story, a new style. Death Day 2 is, new film, new style, new take. Slightly less original, slightly less good, but it's a new take, and it actually expands everything, and it actually retroactively makes the first one better. Because it has amazing emotional payoffs that you don't even know you want. An anticlimactic end that I knew there was something else, and there was a post-credit that I waited for. I'm like, there's got to be something else, and there was! Pacing-wise, I felt there must be. So if the first one's a 9, this one's a solid 8. And then we'll talk about a third one if they get enough money for this one. But since they only got a $9 million budget... they've already tripled their budget in 9 days. So I'm hoping they'll... The first one...
We should do... Sorry. I was going to say we should do a live chat just talking about movies.
Yeah.
Just modern movies and what we thought of them and stuff.
Or, I know people have asked for the Last Jedi review. It'd be funny to release the Last Jedi edited review, which was filmed like 8 months ago, where I actually do bitch in that one and then do a live one, because that would be interesting. Do you like film less, Stuart, or more?
But anyway,
time? Quick answer.
What's that?
Last Jedi. Do you like it more or less now, given time passing?
I like it more or less. Remember the first time I watched it, I didn't like it. Second time, I really enjoyed it for some reason in the theater in 3D. I thought it was fantastic. Then I saw it again, and I wasn't really that happy with it. And just the more I sit with it, the more I listen to everybody's back and forth on it. I don't know what to think anymore. overall, I don't like it. I don't like the treatment of the character Luke Skywalker. But this is going to turn into a whole conversation.
Oh, that's
which
why.
Can't afford.
Yeah,
Right now.
That's a great summary. And for me, I refuse to watch it again. I've no interest in watching it a second time. Once was enough. No interest in seeing it again. Well, someone says do a cap.
There you go.
Yeah. Someone says do a Captain Marvel review on Attila Battle Angel.
Alita.
Alita. Ah, that's what you were meaning.
Anyway, I think we're gonna call it quits now.
Are you gonna see both those films? Like, you're gonna see
Captain Marvel and
Alita.
Yes. I want to see Alita in theaters because it uses 3D to its maximum efficiency, and I love 3D. I have the 3D TV and buy everything in 3D. So
yeah, well, maybe we should do a Alita review if I end up seeing it, and Captain Marvel. Maybe.
Maybe. Cool.
All right, guys. Have a great everything. Stuart will see you on Sunday, and you'll see us every bloody day of the week in some form. Tune in. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for everything. You guys are awesome.